Hello, Billy Ho here, coming at you live, sort of live. Anyway, little quick recap on last week's Pebble Beach Pro-Am. Saw Hollywood Hoagie get her done, taking out the likes of Jordan Spieth playing his best good game, and Patrick Cantlay playing his. Cantlay, I think, used some bad strategy on a few holes there, and Spieth just, things didn't bounce his way toward the end, and Hoagie got her done. So props to him, and also props to me. I won the Billy Ho tournament, first time in a little while. I can't remember the last time I won it, so that tells you how good I've been rolling there. But it's always nice to get a W there every now and then, and just let the fellas know that old Billy Ho still got some game. But anyway, let's get on to the this week's WMPO Waste Management Phoenix Open. And it's a good time, party atmosphere. You see the crowds gathering. I mean, it is the maddest rush you've ever seen on that 16th hole, the par three. The crowd that lines up there at 4 o'clock in the morning or whatever just to get to that stadium. Incredible. Black Friday got shit on that. All right. And for the breakdown of the TPC Scottsdale, it is a 7,200 yard par 71. I call it a longish course because being a par 71 and only having 3 par 5s, if it had a 500 yard par 5 to make it a 72, it would be 7,700 yard golf course, which is long. So keep that in mind. And fairly wide fairways. They're decent, 33 yards. Bermuda fairways, Bermuda greens. And the Bermuda greens are perpetually firm and fast, and looking like it'll be that way this week as well. And excuse me, just 1 second. The weather has been reported on the website that I go to for this information that it's been cooler in Scottsdale. So the overseeding of like the POA and ryegrass kind of stuff that overseeds that Bermuda has not taken as much. So you're going to see a little more pure Bermuda, I think. And speaking of weather, there is much more of the same sunny skies. It does appear that there will be a little bit of Thursday PM weather, some gusty winds, and I believe a front coming in Saturday that's going to cause some gusty winds. And as far as the course breakdown goes, there is 3 par 5s. They range from 500 to 550 yards. There is one drivable par 4 on number 17 that is the big risk reward, where even if you put it in the drink, you can still make par. And then there are several rando par 4s that require 17 to 16% birdie rates. So it should be a good test. I also I mentioned that the PM Saturday gusty winds. I think that's really going to be good. Hopefully that's the way it hits, so it can give our dudes that just make that cut in the AM Saturday a shot to make up some ground. Maybe it'll make things a little harder for our leaders. And so with that said, we're on to a new week, and let's get it started with some players. First one I wanted to start with is Rahm versus JT. Just real quick, because they're the two highest priced guys. They're both similar 20, 21, 22% ownership. Rahm is at 11,600. JT is at 11,000 even on DraftKings. And I lined them up like this. I give Rahm the edge off the tee. I give JT the edge with the irons on approach. I give JT the edge around the green. I give Rahm the edge on par fives. I give Rahm the edge on putting. And I give Rahm a slight edge on recent form. And the ultimate edge I give Rahm on this particular tournament is that he is, and I haven't heard it yet, but they usually get it mentioned every year, that Rahm went to Arizona State. That's right, 22 minutes north of Tpc Scottsdale. So he is familiar with the course, and he hasn't done anything in the 5 or 6 years playing it worse than a 16th. So in my mind, I love JT and I will play JT. But in my mind, the safer play for just $600 more in the same ownership, Rahm all day. All right, and going down that list, the next one I wanted to talk about was Hideki. And you know this page. This is my favorite page. We are upping the Billy Ho to 25 players this week, thanks to you all filling it so fast. So appreciate that very much. And this was the course breakdown if you wanted to take a screenshot of it for your mementos. But honestly, you can find this at the GCSAA. You can just Google that and you can find these. They do it for every tournament. And that's the stadium there that they've built around hole 16. And I want to say this is going to be the first year they're doing it in the stadium. That's going to be of some interest, I think. Here's your horses for courses. Of course, I just horse is a horse, of course. John Rahm and JT, I just went head to head with, and I do slight edge to Rahm on that one. The next one I wanted to talk about was Hideki Matsuyama. Win equity has increased significantly, in my opinion. He's won 3 times in less than a year, including the Masters, and he just won Sony a few weeks ago. He's won here twice, and he's always competed. This is a good tournament for him. So regardless of ownership, he's probably a good dude you can start your lineups with if you don't want to go up to the top 2. Would be very difficult, and not something that I'm looking into, is to try to pair either Rahm or JT with Hideki going 1-2, and then you got like 6,900 per player or something. I don't want to do that. I'd rather be more balanced and take my chances, because there's plenty of other guys that are up top, as you can see. There, Brooks, I'll mention later. Bubba. We haven't seen Bubba on the PGA Tour this year. He loves this. It's a Bubba course, and he loves it here. I like him. He should have had a chance at a playoff in Saudi, but he was upended by none other than Harold Varner III, who gets his 3rd win worldwide. None on the PGA Tour, but congrats to him. Big win for HV3. So Bubba coming in hungry. I think Bubba is going to have a good week this week, and he usually doesn't go highly owned either. So he's a guy that crushes off the tee, scores well on par fives. He's a good DK scorer when he can putt. His problem is he misses those, what they call opportunities gained, like 15 foot and in fringe, makeable birdie putts. He misses too many of them. And the next one I wanted to talk about, it's not a horse for course, but it's Patrick Cantlay. I think the only drawback on Cantlay is he's never played here. I mean, his game should fit. But I don't think that him going back-to-back tournaments, and I think it's because it goes all the way back to his, I keep saying back, but his back. he had a bad back injury that almost ruined his entire career. It took him a long time to get over it. And I know for a fact he gets up way early for his tee times to get his back prepped for the upcoming day. So maybe a back-to-back grind after those long 7-hour rounds last week. I think he's going to be a fade for me. Plus the price is too high. I'd just pay the 300 and get up to JT. Victor Hovland at 70 or 10,200. I think he'll be quite popular, and for good reason. His only drawback to me is his poor putting on Bermuda surfaces, and he's not that great around the green, even though he has improved. Still a work in progress there. So Hovland, I'm still washy on. I might have a sliver. He's a guy that scores DK points, though. I'll give him that. The dude scores like a banshee. He'll go from a bogey, a double bogey, and then straight to an eagle. So he can get you those points. If we drop down into the 9,900 range, that's when we're going to get into another course horse. Just before him, though, I'm going to talk about Spieth, 9,900. This tournament last year kicked off his big run. He went like 20 straight cuts and top tens and a win at Valero. And he just nearly won with fire iron game last week. Just didn't bounce his way, like I said in the beginning of the show. So what do we think about that? Well, I think he can compete once again. And if people are going to overlook him, I'm going to play him. 9,900. I'll pass him. I'll take him over Hovland. And of course, the next horse is Zander at 9,700. He's got a good price. He will be highly owned. He just needs a little better iron play, and I think he'll be good to go. And he usually plays these longish courses off the tee quite well. He gains strokes. Moving down, I'm going to click on over here to take a look at one of my models here, you can see. And the next one I wanted to talk about was Sam Burns. If you don't know Pat Mayo, most of you probably do that listen to pods and listen to me. He has this guy, Tim Anderson, that comes on his show, and they call him Ander Curse because everything he picks as far as sports related stuff seems to be a disaster. And whenever he goes on Twitter and predicts something, the opposite happens. And, you know, the guy will fall off a cliff or the horse will stumble out of the gate or, you know, anything. So his pick this week is Sam Burns for his one and done. Now, if that doesn't pull me off of Sam Burns, his recent form has been a little wonky to me. The irons have been a little sluggish, and it does seem like a good place for him to fit in. And he had a good result last year, but he gained 10 strokes putting. So that was largely the reason. So I think I'm going to probably pass on Burns. Of course, the next one is the most popular man on that list in the 9K range. He's going to be massively owned is Scottie Scheffler, 7th here in 2021, and just a really solid play this week. He could be a core play. He could be your second man in on almost any build, and that's probably going to be what's largely pushing his popularity. He's an easy 9,100 second man in for anybody you want. He does have a slight risk of missed cuts, but he does a good job as he has matured. On to the 9K guy I wanted to talk about, and that's another course horse is Bubba. And I did mention how well he played. I think he's got top 5 upside. So, you know, you've already heard my comments on Bubba. So he's in play for me, definitely. Moving down into the 8K range, my first guy I want to talk about is Fitzmagic, Maddie Fitzpatrick, 8,700. He looked good last week. I was impressed. Wasn't ready to throw it out there on him, but he has no course history here. He is a very excellent Bermuda putter, and he has good finishes on these longer courses. I like him. 8,700, people are probably not going to play him as much. So if he's lower owned, he will be a good pivot. Adam Scott, 8,500, and he played well at Saudi. I think that was his first outing of the year, but he's a guy that doesn't play a whole hell of a lot anyway. And coming in here, I play him so often, and he just doesn't seem to fire. So I'm going to pass on him this week. And speaking of not firing, well, there was a slight power outage, aka Seamus Power at 8,400. He looked like he was on his way again. And then all of a sudden, Saturday, after that glorious round Friday, he just couldn't make a putt, couldn't hit it close, really struggled Sunday as well, and kind of just petered out. Longish course, which is not his jam. He's a little bit of a short knocker. So I'm going to pass on old Seamus this week. Henley at 8,200, I do like, but super popular. Do not team him and Scheffler together in a lineup. I don't recommend it. That's too much ownership to me. Unless you're doing a cash lineup, which those two would be perfect. Good Bermuda putter. Mixed results here. But if he's still firing on those irons, he's going to be a good play. He'll be chalky, but I will have my share. Now, on to $7,900. Billy Ho kicks off the $7,900 range. And he's playing about as well as Billy Ho can play these days, it seems like. He's got a real solid, a real solid cut streak here at Scottsdale. And a sub 10% sounds good to me. Guy who can get hot putting, likes Bermuda, Florida guy. I like him. He had his struggles with the irons, but if he can flip that, it's on. And I did want to flip to this next slide here just to show you a little something different. Next man up, Gucci Man, 7,800. Not good course history. I think I'm out on the old Gucci Man this week. Let's see. Bermuda not his best. Irons have been consistent. I think he makes the cut, but I don't see a whole lot of upside there. HV3, 7,800, coming off that big win. Is he going to parlay that into another good performance? I don't know. We'll have to see. What I want to know is when he pops the following week, he regresses. Will he do that again? I look back at his history and big finishes, top fives, top tens. The following week, he tends to either miss the cut or not fare very well. So let's see. The next guy I wanted to talk about was Luke List, 7,700. He's going to be big chalk again this week. Question is he going to pay off? He definitely rates out well, but I think I may pass on Luke List this week. I think I'm a little indifferent on him, but if the ownership is too high, I'll pass. The next guy I actually like as a pivot to him is Keith Mitchell. Killer Keith at 7,500. Trending well. Plays Bermuda greens well. That's about the only surface I think he putts well on. And he's trending big time, and I think he's due for a big week this week. So I like him a little more than List. Matt Kutcher at 7,400. I'm definitely giving him another go after he burned everybody at 25% ownership last week. He just couldn't seem to get out of the mud. He's stuck in the mud all last week and never got it going. But I think another go at it this week at a course he's got a major league cut streak going. He'll get it done this time. I think he plays all 4 days, so I kind of like him. KH Lee, 7,300, another low-owned guy. And I'm going to play the TPC narrative with him. He does well on these TPC courses. He had a big second place finish here last year. I don't think he repeats that kind of performance, but he doesn't have to at $7,300. Just get me through the cut and score me some points. 7,100. I think you can get Keegan Bradley as a similar player to Luke List. Great ball striker, crushes off the tee, struggles putting. Keegan hasn't really, he's lost 9 strokes in one event here a couple of years back, but other than that, he's putted actually okay here. I think he's in for a decent finish. 7,300, we have CH3, Charles Chucky 3 Sticks, Charles Howell III, Cash Money Chuck. I think he makes the cut this week. He's back to he's got some back course history here, hasn't played it in a little bit, but his recent form has been pretty good. I wanted to finally mention before my special segment a few sub 7K plays. Party Marty Laird at 6,800, just kind of a gut play. Party Marty's got some success here, and I think he got kind of his nickname Party Marty from this event. He's fairly good on longer courses too, so I give him a leg up there. I like also Patton Kazire at 6,500, a guy who has tremendous upside. If he can get you through the cut, 6,500, he's paying that price off all day long. Another 6,500 guy who rates out well and who's not really my quote unquote brand is Matt Wallace. Matt Wallace rated for some reason #1 on long courses over the past 12 months for me. So that just kind of caught my eye, and I'm going to give him a gut play shot, sprinkle in maybe 10% of my lineups if I'm playing 20, maybe 3 lineups out of 20. The last sub 7K play for me is Nate Dogg Lashley. He's got 2 solid finishes here. He's a solid Bermuda putter, and if he can spike with the, I like him for a top 20 finish this week. Now, the last segment here, before I bonk on out, take a look at one more. This is just an extended Bermuda form model, and might help you with a few guys, maybe a tiebreaker, so, something like that. Now, these 6 guys are guys who have somewhat disappointed us so far this year. First guy up is Brooks Kepka, always seems to disappoint if it's not a major championship. He's 9,400, and he did win here last year, and he's won here one other time. He had 0 form coming in here last year, won it. 0 form this year, won it. The only thing that concerns me is his injury. I mean, you're not going to know his injury status. I mean, he's had knee nature, so I don't know if he's banged up or not. He took last week off, so I think this is a place maybe he gives it the old try. At 8,900, Tony Finau, top 5 Tony, failed everybody at the Farmers, a place he plays his best good golf. So there's really no rhyme or reason why he did that. The fast firm greens may even him out a little bit on his putting. He did have a second here last year, and if he can get the irons going, he could do well. 8,600 is Webb Simpson. Webb has awesome course history here. Of course, he has a win, and he has potential. His irons have been a little bit off so far this year, especially at Sony, but he's such a good putter, and he's such a good around the green player that he could chip and putt his way to the cut. And then 8,600, it's well worth his upside. 8,300, another guy in the same boat, is Corey Connors. Kind of disappointed a little bit, missing some cuts. But he had a horrible putting week at Farmers. And I think if he can bounce back from that, he's definitely core play potential. Another guy I'm not so hot on, 8K, 8,000 even, is Harris English. I feel like he should be a good fit here, but he has just really been on the struggle bus for a while now. He's a great scrambler, and he should be 5% owned. So if you want to take a stab on him, go for it. Not saying that I will, but I thought he's worth a mention. The last guy I wanted to mention, 7,900, is Abraham Answer. Now, this guy used to be Chalk City at 8,900 in fields like this, and he's not. He's 7,900. Great price for a guy who has potential. He just needs to get his irons going. Now, if he can do that, he's going to be good this week. He hits fairways and greens, and if he can putt a little bit, he's another guy that's going to be under 10%. I guarantee you that. He also ranked in the top 20 on longer courses in my models. So those 6 guys, can they get it together? We shall see. Of that list, my favorites are Webb, Connors, and Answer, and at least 1 or 2 of them end up in contention on Sunday. So I hope you all enjoyed the broadcast, as I tried to break down as many guys as I could, only doing one show this week. And I really appreciate all your guys in the flop house, anybody who's watching these videos. I know I'm not getting that many yet, but as I improve and, get better, hopefully we will grow this thing. And Billy Ho will be a household name other than the guy that plays golf. So until next time, peace.